I will now call October, wow, that was a mouthful, 5th, 2015 Blue Springs City Council meeting to order. Will you just stand with me, observe a moment of silence, and I will lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. I want to welcome you in attendance, as well as those that might listen to the audio at a later time, to tonight's City Council meeting. Next, we have the consent agenda. Are there any items that needs to be pulled? If not, accept a motion for approval.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levisay?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously.
Just in case you're wondering, these glasses are not to be cool. My eyes were dilated this afternoon, and these fluorescent lights are just eating right through it. Okay, next we have a public hearing on the amendment to the Unified Development Code.
Mayor, the city has the following exhibit to enter into the record. City Council information form with attachments, which includes Planning Commission memorandum dated September 28, 2015. Notice of public hearing is advertised in the Examiner on September 12, 2015. And Unified Development Code text amendment application form. Proposed ordinance amending the Unified Development Code with exhibits A and B. This is all we have to offer for the record.
Thank you. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor, and members of council. Before you this evening are some minor amendments to the UDC that was just adopted by this body back in August. Since that time, just a short time we've been using it. Actually, today is the official effective date of the UDC, as well as the comprehensive plan. So today is a big day for that. But since August, we've noted a few items that we would like to call to your attention and get some clarification on or provide clarification, excuse me, and get your feedback and hopefully approval of these proposed revisions. Again, the revisions are hopefully fairly minor. One of those actually is adding an entire section back into the code that was not explicitly included with the original amended UDC back in August. That's section 410. It's the violations and enforcement section. There were pieces of violations and enforcement that were scattered throughout the code, as well as tie back to the municipal code, but it was evident that we needed to have the full chapter reinstated specifically for zoning, essentially zoning code enforcement and of violations. So requesting that be placed back in. Therefore, some other references had to be corrected in section 401. Secondly, again, there's kind of three different groups here. First, the violations enforcement section. Secondly, we needed to modify some of the daycare provisions and definitions. I apologize, I'm trying to find the page here of the, here we go. But daycare general and daycare limited are two different categories within the code. Pull that up here. Here we go. Section 411 is definitions explaining daycare limited in general. Currently it's showing as 6 or fewer for limited, 7 or fewer for general. To be more consistent with state statutes and licensing requirements that the state has, we are recommending that it be changed from 6 to 4 or fewer, and from 7 to 5 to 10. So that demarcation line is shifting by 2 unrelated persons within the daycare limited or daycare general, And the point being, under Missouri state statutes, licensing is required for more than 4 daycares with more than 4 unrelated individuals present there. So we're making it more consistent, so our provisions for a conditional use permit are triggered at the same time a state license is required. So instead of having this kind of fluctuation back and forth between these different numbers, we're recommending it be matching with the state provisions. Finally, we went through some pre-application meetings with several potential development, redevelopment projects, in particular along 7 Highway and 40 Highway. And as part of that, we noticed that some of the frontage or the building types had frontage thresholds and frontage percentages that were required that were a bit overwhelming for development types or redevelopment, along those corridors. So therefore, for example, small commercial building had frontage types showing 60% minimum front building line, 75% activity streets, meaning 60% of the building face would be on, or the lot width had to be a building coverage. That seemed a bit too onerous, and so we were recommending taking that fully removing that, stumbling over my words here, taking that out of the building types and putting it only in frontage types and only within one frontage type, and that is the enhanced street frontage. So the idea is to provide more of a downtown feel where the building is more front-loaded along a street with parking in the rear. Along 7 Highway, where it's a shallower lot but it's wider, the math didn't work. Again, being responsive to the development community going through this. Again, we understand we'll be back before you probably several times in the next year or more frequently even to provide some modifications and tweaking to the code as we start using it. So a little bit of trial and error in this case. It looked good on paper. Again, for a blank greenfield lot, it made sense to kind of front load the building, present it more to the street, encourage parking on the side or the rear. But for redevelopment of existing lots on 7 and 40, it just isn't working. So we're recommending, again, taking that out entirely, placing it on the enhanced streets frontage, on that type, frontage type only. And that enhanced streetscape frontage is more likely to be found in a downtown area. So let me show just a picture of that. And there we go. So as you can see, we have several different frontage types, 6 different ones, but this one seemed to be more applicable to this kind of percentage based on building type within a specific frontage. So instead of scattered throughout building types and scattered throughout frontage types, we took it all out and recommended just be in this one specific frontage type only. So again, it's a noble concept. It just was not very feasible in any location other than kind of this streetscape frontage. So again, not to belabor that, but just want to give a little background as to kind of where we came from and where we're recommending going with these changes. And with that, I'll certainly stand for any questions.
Are there any questions, Mr. Allen, from council?
Yes.
Any questions or comments from Mr. Allen? Seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll go to the public. There is anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of the amendments to the UDC? In favor of? In opposition to? Opposition to? Close this public hearing. Now we'll have introduction and reading of Bill 4397.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
Okay.
First reading of Bill Number 4397, an ordinance amending the City of Blue Springs Unified Development Code, Chapters 401, 405, 407, and 411, relating to transitional provisions, daycare providers, and front building faces, and to adopt a new Chapter 410 dealing with enforcement actions.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
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 Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Second reading of Bill Number 4397, an ordinance amending the City of Blue Springs Unified Development Code, Chapters 401, 405, 407, and 411, relating to transitional provisions, daycare providers, and front building faces, to adopt a new Chapter 410 dealing with enforcement actions.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Levisay?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quavell?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4570.
Next, we have a presentation on the conservation areas in downtown Blue Springs. Mr. Allen.
Thank you again, Your Honor, and members of the council. Back in May, staff came before you with kind of a brief description of what we've been considering as a result of the 2013 Historic Resources Survey. And one of those recommended outcomes from this survey was to consider establishing downtown conservation districts. I'll just kind of walk through this presentation, just kind of refresh everybody's memory what we were talking about there. Again, we're looking at expansion of the current historic district boundaries, but primarily looking at these local conservation districts. We had kind of what we call the Downtown Resources Team. We've been meeting, met earlier this year, and then also met again several weeks ago. Included folks on the council here, as well as from Downtown Alive and Historic Preservation Commission. So we had a good cross-section of folks who are involved with the downtown area and the historic district and historic resources in particular. So just kind of talking about a conservation district, and again I'll talk about how we changed to conservation area here shortly. A district itself is similar to kind of a zoning overlay district. And again, unlike a historic district, does not consider specific architectural elements as more general in nature. But we, in our discussion most recently with this Downtown Resources team, it seemed more prudent to look at this not as an overlay district, but actually look at it as more like conservation areas. So that's where we came up with that terminology. So at that time, and with the new UDC, we implemented the first bullet point there, including a Historic Preservation Commission member on the Downtown Review Board. That's been done. Explore the viability of expanding the historic district. We're still researching options for that, but we're moving forward with establishing conservation districts. Actually looking at establishing all three that were recommended as conservation areas. There's the overall historic survey, resources survey that was done. These are the boundaries. You can see here kind of in set within that is the existing historic district. And here are the conservation districts that were identified based on, again, their just general overall character. So with that, we modified the UDC. So July, we ended up doing that first part of August. We're still working on educational promotional materials as we move forward to more of that historic district expansion. And so here we are with recommendation for a resolution to establish historic conservation areas here the first meeting in October. So we're going to continue doing some research and outreach with the historic district expansion and look at individual property designations. So that will still continue after time. This is just a letter from Downtown Live Executive Director Cindy Miller in support of the conservation areas and doing that with a resolution rather than an ordinance to make it more, again, a promotional type operation rather than a strict, rigid ordinance concept. So with that, I do want to show, included here, the different conservation areas. The original slide I showed them numbered kind of in more priority numbering. Geographically, we thought it made more sense to show this kind of west to east as you read, left to right. So Area 1 is a conservation area, more or less in looking at kind of an expansion of the existing historic district. So this is be a priority area for moving forward with expanding the historic district itself. That's identified as Area 1. And then areas 2 and 3, 2 being the immediate downtown commercial area, and 3 being more the kind of mix along Main Street and then back south towards Walnut with some of the residential components included. So those are the 3 that are under consideration for you tonight, along with the resolution more formally establishing conservation areas as a concept and also as specific areas. And again, we have references to this already prepared for within the UDC. So with that, again, this just Downtown Resources team, for lack of a better term, is recommending this move forward. again, made up of folks from Downtown Live, Historic Preservation Commission, as well as City Council. So thank you to, in particular, to Councilman Culpepper, who was involved with that pretty regularly. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions from the council? Councilman Levesey?
Scott, I just wanted to check. I'm kind of digging into the deep recesses of my mind when we talked about this earlier in the year, but I remember there was one city in particular that kind of used these conservation areas for 3 particular things. I remember one of them was the review of demolition applications, which is something we really wanted due to the incident with the train depot. Do you remember what the other 2 things were that were kind of main benefits to this concept? I know it's way back there.
Sure. No, one of those was City of Dallas actually had implemented these quite extensively, more specifically as conservation districts in more of an ordinance format, without kind of moving to that next level of being more rigid in its oversight as a district, and again, that overlay concept. We're looking at this more as an area. I know construction, remodeling,
that's right.
Just generally speaking, very much like our historic districts, looking at tying this specifically through and to the Downtown Review Board, Historic Preservation Commission. So as projects and applications come forward, demolition permit isn't actually a building permit. We would be carrying these through that similar process. Again, the Downtown Review Board would be overseeing that anyway. So we're kind of fashioning it kind of to operate through them. With Historic Preservation Commission, again, members on the Downtown Review Board, we'd have their oversight as well. So
and I think the large point was that this isn't as strict as the historic districts.
Correct.
It just provides some common sense reviews.
Exactly.
As people have applications in this area.
Exactly. It's more of the overall architectural character. It's not going to look at, full every material type of your awning on a business. It'll just look at the character as how it ties in with the rest of that area.
Okay.
So yes, it's not as strict without getting a lot of the kind of door-by-door buy-in from each of the property owners. We wanted to be a little bit more kind of high level at this point, and then move forward into more of that district level review from kind of moving forward.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions before I ask mine? Area 3, you said, included more residential south of Main Street, right?
Yes. And there's some commercial on the south side of Main Street included in there.
What kind of comments have you gotten from the property owners in that section?
We've not specifically reached out to them individually. Again, this is just as an area and as a resolution. It's more of a promotional piece and opportunity for these different groups, Downtown Live, Downtown Review Board, Historic Preservation Commission, city staff and such, to move ahead with have an educational outreach opportunity as projects come forward in these areas. So it's not necessarily an added level of review or restrictions. It's simply adding them into, kind of bringing them into the family, so to speak, into the conservation concept.
So once you do the educational piece, then you certainly will find out what their thoughts are.
Exactly. Yes, we will. And again, as projects come forward, we'll get a lot more specific in terms of what their thoughts are. But exactly, this is kind of the first step moving forward, Your Honor, in terms of a more specific, kind of restrictive, I guess, for lack of a better term, district. So we're looking at area. That's what we're calling these areas tonight, rather than what we called them previously as districts.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Allen.
Thank you.
We will move down to the adoption of the resolution. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have introduction and reading of Bill 4398, correcting a legal description of the White Oak TIF plan and contract.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
Okay.
First reading of Bill Number 4398, an ordinance correcting a scrivener's error in legal descriptions included in Ordinance Number 4519.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Second reading of Bill Number 4398, an ordinance correcting a scrivener's error in legal descriptions included in Ordinance Number 4519.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levisay?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4571.
Next, we have introduction and reading of Bill 4399, correcting legal description in White Oak CID and cooperative agreement. Okay.
First reading of Bill Number 4399, an ordinance correcting a scrivener's error in legal descriptions included in ordinance numbers 4523 and 4539.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the
Is
second.
there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign?
Second reading of Bill Number 4399. I'm sorry, was there discussion?
No.
Okay.
You get on next.
Bill Number 4399, an ordinance correcting a scrivener's error in legal descriptions included in ordinance numbers 4523 and 4539.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance
Is there
number.
a second? Second. Discussion? Councilman Fowler.
Yes, Your Honor. For the audio record, I think we're not recording this electronically anymore at the moment, but I just wanted to ask, legal opinion, everything in order with this proposal?
I assume they're just changing legal descriptions as is indicated in there. I haven't actually seen the documents, but I would assume that Nancy has it correct.
That's a familiar voice we've heard before.
It's just for posterity.
Blast from the past. I wanted to earn his money tonight. You know? That's all I had, Your Honor.
It's just a correction, Councilman Fowler.
Right. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levisay?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given ordinance number 4572.
That brings us to mayoral announcements, and just prior to this, we established the fact that there is another voice sitting up here this evening. Our former city attorney, Mr. Bob McDonald, is back tonight. And I appreciate you asking that question because he would needs to earn his pay here.
That's right.
But Nancy left him in good hands. Left it in-
I'm glad I at least got on the record that I was here.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
know
not what I thought. Yes, it is.
Well, Mr. McDonald, you can still see we treat you with love. But welcome back. It's good to see you, Bob. Thank you. The next thing I want to remind everybody is tomorrow night is the National Night Out on Crime. Chief McCoy, you got anything you want to add? Will it be down at this section like we've done the last few years?
We'll also be utilizing the new parking lot in some areas, so it will be
Good.
very exciting.
So if you can make it tomorrow night, please come out, and it's a fun time. And Councilman Carter, will KFKF still be the main attraction with you emceeing it?
Actually, the main attraction will be Debbie Erickson, who'll be singing.
Well, Debbie will be singing.
But I'll be there waving.
Okay, good. So if you get an opportunity, be sure and come out tomorrow night. I think that's very important. We normally have a pretty good crowd out to show our support, not only for police department, but to let people know that crime is not something you ought to be doing. And so anyway, the next thing I have is Mr. Johnson, you want to talk about customer appreciation and recognition?
Yes,
in
sir.
Service.
Your Honor, this week is National Customer Service Appreciation Week. And you may notice tonight some of our staff are wearing gray T-shirts with bold red lettering promoting the Blue Springs Fieldhouse. Some of you have them. That is a kickoff for this week, which is a national week across the country. Your Honor, you may remember when you first took office, we sat down, and what was one of the first things that we discussed, sir?
Well, one of the first things you and I discussed, and if I recall, we had a departmental meeting
About customer service.
about customer service. I said, you guys probably don't know much about me, but let me tell you what my number one priority is.
Yes, sir.
Customer service.
Well,
And I think we've done a pretty good job with that, because I said I don't want to be getting phone calls about the lack of courtesy and those kinds of things. And, you know, I've been almost 8 years, and
Yes,
you'll
sir.
have a sprinkling of things every now and then because you can't please everybody.
Well, Your Honor, we have approximately 300 employees who work for the City of Blue Springs, and we take what we do very seriously in terms of providing all the programs and services to our great community of almost 55,000 people. And this week, across the country, organizations are going deep into their employee base to remind employees to stretch, to do better, to do more, to serve those people that walk through the doors. And so this week you'll see a variety of different activities at City Hall, at Public Works facilities, at the Public Safety Building, Pink Hill Park, and that is all in just an effort to remind our employees to say thanks for the hard work that they do in providing the services to our community, and to also let the community know we're trying as hard as we can and doing the best that we can to serve you and to provide the best customer service. So thank you, Your Honor.
And I echo those comments. Sitting in my office, there are a number of times that I have walked out and with the city clerk and assistant city clerk and the things they have to put up with and endure, because not all customers are real friendly. And to be able to maintain your cool and provide that service, sometimes it takes extraordinary patience and understanding. And so I just want to echo those same comments, that you do a good job, and we encourage you to continue doing that, and want you to know that we appreciate what you do. So that concludes the announcements. That brings us to Thoughts to Ponder. Tonight's come from Lauren J. Peter, and I quote, "The hardest thing in life is to learn which bridge to cross and which to burn," end quote. Don't have any visitors' appearance forms, so I'll accept a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All same sign. We adjourn.